Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ballpit. It's your host Aaron here with another installment of the Writer's Block, a show that allows me to cover whatever creative interests really interest me at a given moment. And right now, something I just wanted to talk about because it was on my mind is comedians really talking about cancel culture. And if you'd like to know, this was brought about by Chris Rock's recent special that was live streamed on Netflix. I actually had the opportunity to go see it live in Baltimore. Not on the day it was filmed, which was Saturday, but the day before on Friday. So Friday night, I got to watch it live. And that made me think about comedians talking about cancel culture. Now, stand-up comedy is a form of art. It's a form of creativity. It's a creative outlet. And it's one of my favorite ones. I've been listening to comedy for a very, very long time. And I love it. And it seems like the current market is really being saturated with comedians complaining about cancel culture. And at a certain point, when you hear so many comedians talking about it, you hear so many right-winger, conservative-based podcasts, clips talking about it, so many conservative pundits in the media talking about it, at a certain point it becomes unoriginal. You're no longer saying new ideas. You're reusing ones that have already been said, and that's not creatively stimulating. It's not. It's boring. I don't want to hear you people continue to say the same thing over and over and over again at live shows. So when Chris Rock talked about cancel culture for 8 minutes or whatever in his recent special, those entire 8 minutes, I just kind of tuned it out. I'm like, nothing new is being said. Nothing of use or importance is being said in this special right now. And that's not a good thing, because the whole, really, like, the backbone of comedy is talking about new things, pursuing further and greater heights. And so whenever you start seeing a pattern where comedians are all talking about the same thing, you just start to realize that it's just a pattern of unoriginality. And it really just kind of is boring. It's gray. And instead you hope to look for comedians that push past it and talk about new things, because it just starts to get annoying. But I wanted to break it down a little further than just exploring this pattern that is formed, and just kind of explore the topic of cancel culture within comedy a little more. The first of which is, the main point behind cancel culture is they say, you can't say certain things or they'll cancel you. And the backbone of that is you can't say certain things. You're not allowed to talk about certain topics. So the main question is, why does that matter? Because a good comedian should be able to make people laugh with a wide variety of topics. If the only way you can make people laugh is by talking about sensitive topics like race or gender or sexuality, you're not really a good comedian. You're just one of those people that gets a rise out of people by saying controversial topics. You're not really a good comedian. So why does it matter? If you're a good comedian, you shouldn't need to talk about those things. And further on that topic, a good comedian can talk about those things and not offend marginalized groups. A good example of this is in Andrew Schultz's latest stand-up special, which he posted on his own YouTube channel. It was really great. It's one of my favorites that has come out recently. I love that special. He makes like a joke about blackface. And again, blackface is a sensitive topic with historical background. That's one of those things that if you ask one of those comedians who consistently complain about cancel culture, they'd probably say you can't talk about it without getting in trouble. But Andrew Schultz did, because he used that topic and made jokes about it in a creative way that did not target with the purpose to offend or harass marginalized groups, which is the way to do it. So just to kind of summarize this point, it's talk about other topics, because you can, and they can be funny. And if you are going to talk about more sensitive topics, be creative with it, be funny, do not harass and do not target, because that is where it becomes problematic. When Dave Chappelle talks about the trans community for 30 minutes in his 50-minute special, Now it's a problem because you're not making funny jokes, Dave. I watched that special. It was bad. It was bad comedy. Because at that point, you're just there to target and harass. That's it. That's it. And that is not funny. That is when you actually get canceled, not because you talk about the trans community, but because you're not funny. You're not being funny. Nobody wants to watch a comedian that's not funny. That's the point. The point of comedy is that you enjoy yourself and you laugh. If you're not laughing, probably should just go listen to a podcast. And then the last point is if you say something bad, you're going to get canceled. None of these comedians are getting canceled. It's so rich to stand up live on stage in front of tens of thousands of people, both people that watched you live through your tour or are watching you through Netflix or whatever other medium where your special is posted, and you stand up there and say you are getting canceled for things you say in front of tens of thousands of people, making tens of thousands of dollars doing so. You are not canceled. Just because people say mean things about you on Twitter does not mean you are canceled. None of these comedians that complain about cancel culture are getting canceled. Hell, even Dave Chappelle, the guy who talked about trans people and harassed them for 30 minutes on his recent special, would probably sell out a show in any city today. He could probably roll up to any city in the United States, post on social media or wherever else that he was doing a live show, and it would probably sell out. You're not canceled, buddy. You're just not. Social media is not a real place. Your fans don't care. You're not canceled. So shut up about it. It's just so annoying because I'm somebody who appreciates uniqueness and creativity in creative spaces. And so to see this pattern of these older comedians just going up there and complaining about a non-real problem is just annoying. Nobody cares. You're not saying anything new. You're not saying anything of importance, and you're not saying anything of relevance because it's not happening in the real world. All you're doing is just complaining about a made-up problem in hopes that certain fans will be like, yeah, brother, yeah, that is a real problem. We gotta fix it by stopping the Democrats. It's just annoying. And again, like somebody like Chris Rock, who's been doing comedy for forever. Chris Rock's been doing comedy for forever. Somebody like Dave Chappelle, who's been doing comedy for forever and has one of the greatest shows ever with this Chappelle show that is a beacon of creativity. That show is really, really good. Have people like that falling in this pattern of just making uninspiring, normative, and just whining comedy is really sad. And my hope is that, because the market is being so saturated with people complaining about cancel culture and everything else, that those comedians that make that the crux of their current state in comedy will begin to fall away and become less relevant, not because they're actually getting canceled, but because they're not making good comedy. And the comedians who are kind of pushing the boundaries and being super creative, super informative, and super funny in their comedy, they'll shine through. Somebody like, and I know that, again, still a controversial figure, Andrew Schultz, right? Young comedian, makes creatively charged, interesting jokes that still touch on sensitive political and cultural topics, in my opinion, without really offending people. And I think he does so because he is super knowledgeable and informed on the current state of the world. I've seen stand up from Andrew Schultz where he can have a 5-minute conversation with somebody in the audience about Peruvian culture that has everybody in the room, which 99% of them probably have no idea what the hell he's talking about with Peruvian culture, dying laughing. And it's because he's so knowledgeable and up to date on current events and topics. Instead of just complaining about cancel culture, he's like, I'm going to make great comedy. Because at the end of the day, if you make great comedy that its purpose is to entertain and make people laugh and not to harass targeted and marginalized groups for like an easy dunk, you're going to be successful. And Andrew's showing that even without support from a platform like Netflix or something else to post a special and just posting it on YouTube, which Andrew's been doing for forever, he's still found mainstream success, which is great. And I hope there's more comedians like that that are coming up that are going to push the boundaries of comedy by making intelligent but hilarious comedy that's not falling into a pattern of boring comedy. And that's it. That's it for me today. If you guys have any topics you want me to cover or talk about, leave it in the comments. If you are mad about anything I said in the comments, I don't care. You can put it in there if you want. Help boost my video in the algorithm. But I'm probably not going to respond to you because, again, don't care. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. I'm leaving. Bye.